What's going on, everybody? So I'm back today to do another review of a film that I was recommended on TikTok. This is from Andy, a user on TikTok, who asked me to watch the film Jacob's Ladder. And this is the original Jacob's Ladder, not the new remake that came out in 2019. And this is a film that had been on my list for quite some time, and I cannot believe I'd never watched this movie, and it really took me by surprise, and I'm looking forward to talking about it in the review. Jacob's Ladder is directed by Adrian Lyne. After returning home from the Vietnam War, veteran Jacob Singer, played by Tim Robbins, struggles to maintain his sanity. Plagued by hallucinations and flashbacks, Singer rapidly falls apart as the world and people around him morph and twist into disturbing images. His girlfriend Jazzy and his ex-wife Sarah try to help, but to little avail. Even Singer's chiropractor friend Lewis fails to reach him as he descends into madness. So this is a movie, being someone who loves horror, I've seen a lot of people talk about over the years, and I'm not 100% sure why I never watched this movie until now, because it is absolutely brilliant. The story opens with Tim Robbins' character, Jacob, who is in the Vietnam War, and he's with all these guys. They're kind of just goofing off, having a good time, and the place that they're at in Vietnam gets attacked, and you start seeing everyone around them like pass out and fall over. You hear machine gun fire, all this craziness is happening. Tim Robbins kind of cowers in the corner, and he wakes up and he's on the subway all by himself. And the first sequence is he gets off the subway tunnel's completely shut down. He like ends up jumping into the subway and like almost gets run down by a train filled with all these people that don't have faces. It's super disturbing. And he ends up getting out and going home to his girlfriend Jazzy, who works at the postal service, where he is a driver there. And you come to find out that he used to be married. He had a couple kids. One of his kids died before he went to war in Vietnam. His wife ended up asking him to leave. He ended up leaving and meeting this girl, and they started dating. And the whole movie is really just the mental collapse of Jacob, and it's really this interesting look into what a person goes through with PTSD and trauma from being in the war. And it's really an incredible movie that doesn't really overdo it on its symbolism either. I feel like this movie is really touted a lot of times as really surreal and over the top, but like it uses the surrealism in the film to the best of its ability. And I love how the sort of blurred line between reality and what may not be real is consistent throughout the film. It constantly leaves you as the viewer guessing, because there's a period in the movie Jacob starts to get really sick, and he like overheats one night so bad that they end up throwing him into a bathtub with ice water because they think he's gonna die. And when they're getting him in there and they start throwing the ice water on him, he wakes up and he's in bed with his ex-wife, and it's like he completely forgets about that other life. He thinks that he's at home and his son is still alive. And so you're jumping back and forth between these two realities, and you as the viewer never quite know 100%. Is Jacob in the reality where he's with his girlfriend, or is he in the reality where he's in this world with his wife? And it's super fascinating because it's constantly pulling you, and you're asking yourself, is this trauma that he experienced from being in the war? What is happening? And this movie takes a twist in the third act that just kind of blows my mind. And I feel like there's a lot of things that you as a viewer could unpack with this movie. Like, there's this character of the chiropractor who he's constantly going to see, who whenever things start to get really bad, he goes there and he makes him feel better. He constantly builds him up. But then he comes into play at one point where he goes into this hospital and he's like, oh, you're mistreating him, you're gonna kill him, and like gets into this really intense, over the top sequence where he's like discussing like the mistreatment of him, how he feels about that he's being mistreated, and he almost feels like a guardian angel more than anything else. And it's a super fascinating thing to include this character, but there's all these really wild sequences. There's a scene where Jacob's at a party really early on, and you see this guy who his face is just like shaking like crazy, and it really makes you wonder, like, was the influence to this film just like wanting to display what these people who have gone to war and have experienced the trauma of being in war go through on a regular basis? And it really just kept the questions rolling in my head throughout the entire runtime, and I was really appreciative of that because I felt like the movie was really brilliant. It was so well shot, it was so well executed, and honestly, like, I cannot believe that it took me this long to watch this movie. I feel like it's something that you could pull more from each time you see it, because the third act, which I'm not going to spoil, kind of just goes in this direction that completely caught me off guard. I was not ready for it whatsoever. I think Tim Robbins gives one of the most brilliant performances of his entire career in this movie. He's so believable as Jacob. It's less even through his dialogue and more through just his facial expressions and his body language, and everything about him just kind of radiates through the screen in this way that really impressed me. He's such an incredibly talented actor, and this is a movie that if you have not watched, I would 100% recommend you check it out as soon as you can. So have you seen Jacob's Ladder? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was absolutely brilliant. I'm so glad I got the recommendation, and I look forward to checking out more films from people's recommendations on TikTok. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I love putting out new material for everyone. If you want to leave a comment and let me know a movie you'd like me to review, I'd love to do the same thing for my YouTube channel. Let me know in the comments a film that you'd like to see me review. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.